Those first products went live in February, and in March he had 30K in sales.
Wow.
So that's not it. That's his revenue. That's not his margin, but like it just shows where that can go within the first couple months.
Are you tired of gambling your hard-earned savings with the casinos of Wall Street? Don't you wish you could generate passive cash flow from tangible assets that produce proven in-demand products? Our friends at Agronosotros allow passive investors to participate alongside them in their sustainable agricultural projects. So now you can caffeinate your cash flow with the second most traded commodity in the world after oil, coffee, and sweeten up your returns with high-end artisanal chocolate. Diversify your portfolio and participate in coffee and cacao farms in Panama that are turnkey, managed for you with farming, processing, and product sales all done for you. And you impact the lives of subsistence farmers by helping provide housing and education through their socially sustainable programs. To find out more, go to wealthandfreedomnexus.com/coffee. That's wealthandfreedomnexus.com/coffee.
Are you tired of trying to keep ahead in the rat race, only to have so much of your hard-earned money going to the tax collector? Equity doesn't pay the bills. Retirement savings don't pay you now, and there are only 24 hours in a day to work. The only solution is passive income that pays you 24/7 now, not 40 years from now. From vetted investment opportunities to tax saving strategies, let John guide you through all the confusion and take control of your financial life in pursuit of financial freedom. So sit back, relax, and welcome to the Wealth and Freedom Nexus.
Taxes are your biggest expense. The best way to reduce your burden is real estate. Increase your income with amazing returns and reduce your taxable income with real estate write-offs. As an employee with a high salary, you're devastated by taxes. Lighten your burden with real estate tax incentives. You can offset your income with a W-2 job and from capital gains. Freedom Family Investments is the experienced partner you've been looking for. Our Real Estate Insider Fund is the vehicle. This fund invests in real estate projects that make an impact, and you can join us with as little as $50,000. Insiders get preferred returns of 10 to 12%. This means you get paid first. Insiders enjoy cash flow on a quarterly basis, and the tax benefits are life-changing. Join the Freedom Family and become a real estate insider. Start on your path to financial freedom through passive income. Text FAMILY to 66866. That's family to 66866. This is not a solicitation. Please text regarding this opportunity for complete details. This is for accredited investors only. Hey, welcome back to the Wealth and Freedom Nexus podcast. This is episode 92, just 8 away from episode 100. Hard to believe we are getting that close to 100 episodes, and we'll be in the triple digits for this podcast. So if this is your first time tuning in, listening in, watching, or viewing this, be sure to hit that subscribe button on Spotify, iTunes, or whatever your podcast platform of choice is, so you never miss an episode that drops every single Wednesday for Wealth Wednesday or Wisdom Wednesday, if you will. It has been recurring every Wednesday since November of 2021 with no reruns or remixes or anything like that. So I got quite a good pipeline for the rest of 2023. Got several interviews, upcoming topics, everything from trademarks and registered trademarks to asset protections, as well as some additional country spotlights. Right now, working on getting interviews. With the time zone changes, it gets quite difficult, but we should be able to showcase Spain, Turkey, and South Korea before the end of 2023. I don't have any definitive dates on those yet, but just as a little teaser of what's coming in. So with that, this will be a little bit shorter intro this week as I am getting ready to go on a solo dad vacation, if you will. This is, well, one, to check out another real estate market, but two, just a little time away. I love my family, love my son dearly. Just been a very long 2023. My wife had some travel plans in February, March, and April. The February one was the most, well, shall we say, exciting one, as that was about a total of 9 days that she was gone. 2 days daycare was out due to snow days, dealing with a blizzard, a kitchen remodel, which at the time I'm recording this intro at 3:24 Central Standard Time, July 6, 2023. The kitchen remodel is still going on, even though it started on December 2nd. That's a whole nother side topic. Could do a podcast on that as well. But yeah, with that blizzard, the snowblower not working, just everything going on, it's like, yeah, I just need a little vacation myself. Took one last year to Roswell to see the 75th anniversary celebration of the Roswell incident. My wife's not really into UFOs and X-Files, so went alone for that. And this one, she was like, I've been away long enough. You deserve a week away as well. So with that, I'll actually be checking out Oklahoma City. By the time this episode drops, I will be back from that. So I'll be able to give you my insights and thoughts on the OKC market, as well as Table Investments, among other sites that I went to visit, hoping to check out a few breweries as well. Now, with that, in fact, you can actually listen to my interview with the founder of Table Investments back on episode 65. And that dropped back on January 11th. So this week's podcast is actually a very interesting one. Now, if you recall back from episode 75, I had a friend, Randy, on in regards to how to set up an Amazon business. But, not that there's anything wrong with businesses and side hustles, but it was very active. You had to buy the products, sometimes ship them to an Amazon warehouse, but sometimes you might be warehousing them on your own, really just kind of finding some retail arbitrage and profiting from the difference. But, was still active income, and there could be some headaches involved. Not everyone has the storage capacity or space to store products to resell on Amazon and such. This particular business you can actually partake in, utilize this firm's storage facilities, back-end systems, technology, and really be hands-off. So I'm very green on this. I have not myself dived into this. I've been researching it, talked to a few others that have done this. Seems to be going pretty well. Side note, I don't know yet if this can be done in a self-directed retirement account. It seems yes, but is not so cut and dry. So stay tuned. I haven't found an example of, John Smith invests in his solo 401k with Specialized Trust, has been doing it with this for the last 2 years. We fill out Farm 5679AB every single year, and everything's just fine. So be sure to stay tuned for that, because honestly, this is an investment business, I should say, that if I can, particularly put in my Roth account, I'm definitely going to be looking at that. So with that, we will get into today's interview after a word from one of our sponsors.
Check out the website simplepassivecashflow.com for podcasts, videos, articles, and free e-courses. If you guys have any specific questions, feel free to reach out to the team via email, and we'll get you pointed in the right direction, whether it be an educational course or information about syndication deals. If you haven't read my book, The Journey to Simple Passive Cashflow, click the link below to get a free copy. Thanks to John and the Wealth and Freedom Nexus podcast. Our team is here to help you take the first step, or if you're a seasoned investor, then we're here to expand your reach into alternative investing.
Well, thanks for coming on the show. How are things down in Miami?
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here. It's a little rainy today, but other than that, I can't really complain.
All right. Yeah, I'll take the rain. I know we talked off camera. It's a whopping 19 degrees here in Minnesota, and we're supposed to get another 4 to 8 inches of snow tomorrow in a blizzard.
Damn.
Yeah, but I'm still here. Who knows why? So.
Fair enough.
So Will, maybe start off with kind of a backstory for some of my listeners that maybe aren't familiar with you and familiar with your company. Can you give us kind of a brief background and introduction?
Yeah, absolutely. So my background specifically prior to starting Ascend was in the tech industry. So I worked about a decade in the tech industry, starting actually in the corporate side of healthcare and health tech. And then I left that to sort of I worked for DaVita. There's plenty of DaVitas in Minnesota. They're all over the country.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where I really started my professional career. And I did about 4 or 5 years there in a subsidiary of DaVita, working sort of in a startup environment within them. And then I decided I got a lot of thrill from working in that fast paced kind of like, you don't know what's around the corner. You wear 1,000 hats, even though this is your role, startup environment. And so I wanted to start working for companies that were like under 50 employees, of which had a lot of growth potential and bringing innovative solutions in the healthcare world, specifically in health tech. And so for about 5 years, I worked for a few different organizations, sort of building out their sales, marketing strategy, partnership strategy, sort of wearing a lot of different hats and getting that kind of, I do draw I say this a lot, but it's true. I draw a lot of parallels between the startup environment, especially when you're just reporting to the CEO, to actual entrepreneurialism. You can get a hint of what it's sort of like a little bit. And on the side during that period of time, I was getting involved with Amazon fairly early, trying to build out some products that failed, et cetera. I had a little bit of success here and there. And then a few years ago, once we had some success on Amazon, my business partner and I, we were pretty ingrained about 5-6 years into the actual program at that point, knowing the back end of Amazon and how it works.
Okay.
We saw these organizations coming to surface that were sort of providing done-for-you Amazon building services where the client can invest to a partner and then they can build out an Amazon business for the client with their capital and then operate it for them, be the operational partner, and then split the profits that are generated from that. So on the surface, that's great. Sounds amazing. But what we realized is that a lot of these companies were just ineffectively executing across the board. And so that made a light bulb sort of turn on. And we were like, okay, well, if that's the case, let's do a market test on 3 different companies and see what's wrong. So I said this is a little long-winded, but essentially this is how it spawned. We did a market test with 3 so-called competitors about 4 years ago, unraveled all the inefficiencies from infrastructure to sometimes lacking ethics to business model overall to outsourcing, all piecemealing together their business. And at the end of the day, it's just not being sustainable. And we just said, hey, we can flip the script on this, take this business model that's broken, refine it, restructure it, and legitimize it in the industry. It's exactly what we did. We started our company. We are 3 years and 1 month in. So in February was our 3rd year. And we build, essentially what we do is people that are looking to tap into the e-commerce market in terms of a different asset class to generate passive income.
Sure.
Normally busy professionals or retirees that are looking to park their money somewhere outside of stocks or real estate, especially right now. Yeah. Because Amazon has got monumental growth day after day because we're still selling necessities like detergent and stuff. They come to us and they have no skills required. They pay us an upfront fee. We leverage our team, our infrastructure, everything we've done, our research, our manufacturer connections, and we build them out an Amazon wholesale business via Amazon Prime. And then we operate that entire business for them. And on those net profits that client makes monthly, we bill them for a small portion of that. And that's essentially the business model on the surface. Gotcha. And last thing to sum it up, where we are today, 3 years in, we've got just roughly a little over 600 clients. You've got 2 facilities in Dallas, 1 in Miami, 1 in Michigan. I've got 200 plus employees. We've done close to 80 million in revenue. So it's pretty substantial business model. And we brought a lot of success to a lot of investors. And so, yeah. All right. Long-winded, but that's a summary.
No, I appreciate that. And you actually answered my second question I had, so we just kind of consolidated that into one. So maybe looking into Ascend here, Will. Now, you had kind of mentioned passive income, and I had other people on the show, and I've talked to other entrepreneurs, and there seems to be kind of a misnomer or miscommunication of what passive income is, because sometimes people are like, well, this is passive income, but it's my side hustle. I'm still working 10, 15, 20 hours a day. Not really passive in my opinion, but whatever. Where I think of passive as, like you said, truly passive. How does this, as far as like Amazon goes, I mean, don't you have to, have the inventory in your house, ship out the products, do the print labels, all that stuff?
That's essentially what we do that for our clients. And so what we're doing essentially is they pay us an upfront cost. It could be anywhere from 25 grand to upwards of 98 grand, depending on the tier that they invest in. And we use our warehouse, we use our team. The investor is literally only, after the first month of setting up a couple things, their only job is to be the financial driver of the business. And so they inject their capital, they get paid out from Amazon. We're managing the entire business for them. I'd like to call it frictionless income. Because at the end of the day, it's as close as passive can be. But at the end of the day, it's still a true business, right? This isn't just like investing in something and just getting the dividends completely without even thinking about it. You cannot think about it, but people get very interested about the business model because we're building them like a a 6 and 7 figure business online, and they already shop on Amazon themselves. And so it can be as low touch or as high touch as you'd like. But I'm just trying to say that we have some investors that they really want to be involved, and they lift under the hood, they see what we're purchasing and all that kind of stuff. And that makes it not as passive, but that's by choice.
Sure.
Right? So.
Okay. So basically, if I understand you right, if someone wanted to get into Amazon and, hey, I'm going to run this good business, but I need to find a warehouse, I need to get all these employees, I need to do all this, et cetera, versus reinventing the wheel, they just leverage your business, leverage your expertise, your 3 years, your 200 employees, et cetera. And then you in return just take a portion of it. Is that kind of?
It's exactly. If you were to do it yourself, Amazon can be extremely competitive. It would need almost more capital if you want to scale quicker, depending upon the situation, and because you'd be failing a lot more, so you'd be losing more money.
Gotcha.
And at the end of the day, direct to manufacturer connections, which we have as a distributor of products, like we're selling stuff like Colgate products, Kellogg cereal, stuff that you see day to day that people are buying, of which a regular seller can't just sell. You need to be licensed to sell. So they get licensed. So there's a lot of advantageous things here when it comes down to partnering with. It's not just the infrastructure of the team, it's the exclusivity to get access to products of which normally you can't sell unless you're trying to drop $500,000 to a distributor, and then they'll say, okay, we can let you buy it, kind of thing. We are essentially democratizing it. We're giving the ability for people to, they have to invest money, but it's not like $1 million, but they can get volume discounts as if they're dropping $500,000 on product when they're only dropping 10 to 15 grand, right?
Gotcha.
And that's the real goal here at the end of the day, is to give people the ability to access a $5 trillion industry that's got 400% growth ahead of it over the next 15 years, which is e-commerce in general, right?
Okay.
But do it without having to think about failing, without having to think about all the infrastructure you need and all the softwares and all the policy changes that happen with Amazon constantly and global. I mean, there's just, the list goes on.
Yeah.
And the commonality between our investors, they're anywhere from school teachers to retirees to veterans. I mean, you name it. They're financially comfortable already, and they're looking to invest, and they just don't have time. That's what ties them all together,
Gotcha.
So.
All right. Now you had mentioned with, $5 trillion industry, and, not to knock on Amazon, the stock, but they have, with a lot of tech companies, Meta, et cetera, have seen quite a bit of a decline in their stock price in the last, 12 to 18 months. Isn't the e-commerce or even Amazon business oversaturated at this point?
No, I wouldn't say that. Not even close. So they did layoffs, right? They're automating things. They're becoming lean. That's essentially what it is. And that's what the tech industry is doing in general. A lot of layoffs all across the tech industry overall, but it's not necessarily, it's bad for the employee 100%, but AI is growing. Automation is growing within organizations, and the need for less people within certain roles is declining. Right. Yeah. And that means that we're going to be opening up doors for new roles. I think, I know this is slightly off topic, but it doesn't mean there won't be positions that are going to spawn from this. They're just going to be different skill sets. And so that's the evolution of the workforce. I mean, that's the way things are going. We can't fight against that, right? But I think that has to do with part of where the stock got hit a little bit. But if we look at growth, Amazon still grew 10% this past Q4 over last year's Q4, even with the inflation and all the issues that are going on, right? And so the growth is still there, and it's supposed to hit $1 trillion in the next 5 years, $1 trillion e-commerce business. And so like we have not seen a dip in growth. We've seen a slowdown since the pandemic, because the pandemic was slightly a bubble to some extent. But what it also did is it brought in people that normally would not buy online, are not comfortable to doing it. And so their idea of saving money during economic hard times is not driving 15 minutes to the local grocery store. It's using their Prime membership for a 2-day delivery for groceries and getting the same price or cheaper online. And we sell groceries. So like if you look at it that way, it starts to, and saturation, by the way, saturation for sellers, going back to the main point prior, it's saturated for people that don't have the right infrastructure in place and aren't competitive with the products. Yes. But if you come in and you partner with someone like our company, what we do is our entire goal is to accelerate you into the Amazon ecosystem and really make you a top seller within a year. When I say top seller, I mean, we can look at 3 million sellers in Amazon North America, roughly, right? I could slice that into a third, and who's truly competitive against our clients is probably 1/3 of that. Simply because their lack of infrastructure, they're breaking policies, they're in a niche market, so they're only selling one kind of product. They're a basic, they could be like a company like Nike selling on Amazon and only selling Nike products. That's not exactly the case, but I'm just giving you an example that people can relate to. And we're just not competing against them, right? We're competing against other third-party sellers and people that are buying product at wholesale. and ones that actually have true infrastructure in place. And then the ones that actually can get licensed to get products that are exclusive to certain distributors, right? Not every distributor can get in the doors on these, right? And so all that does is it takes the competitor market and just chips away at it and makes it less and less saturated. Therefore, it makes the ability to sell, your revenue capability increases and your margin increases as you go down the line. And so Amazon doesn't need more sellers. They just need more quality sellers. And that's essentially what it is.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay. They don't need 10,000 people selling $1 items. They need 100 people selling $100 items.
Yeah. And quality items with good logistics behind them and good quality control and quality of product, like all of that. And not, good store health, good customer service. Like Amazon handles customer service for Prime, but there's also fulfilled by merchant where we have to handle the customer service. And all these things is, if you do them the right way on Amazon's platform as a seller, Amazon begins to favor you as a seller algorithmically. And that just leads to your products being premiered first, which means more sales, which means more money, which means a more valuable business in terms of appreciation, because these are true businesses of which you can sell later on. We like to call it digital real estate because it is. You build an Amazon business, you exit in 3 years, it can be 3 to 10x your annual net earnings, like the value of it, right? And like that's a true thing. And so we want to make sure that we're building these businesses in a sustainable manner that have all the assets tied to them when it comes down to fulfillment. So a diverse fulfillment method, a diverse product sourcing method, and a strong management team attached to it with strong licenses. And that's going to lead a client to be able to, if they ever wanted to exit, have an optimal exit value, right? Because we want to make sure that's possible if they want to. So
makes sense. Now with that, well, and you kind of mentioned exiting in 3 years, and maybe just high level, everything goes according to plan, et cetera. What's the whole process of, onboarding with the send? What's the capital outlay? How much time commitments are there? And then fast forward 3 years. I mean, how exactly does one, do you just go on Amazon and say, hey, I'm selling my business or something different?
We actually help with that.
Huntsville, Alabama, the Rocket City, the Star of Alabama, the most populous city in Alabama, ranked as the best place to live by U.S. News and World Report. It's also a great place to invest in, and best of all, it is the place for this year's Spartan Summit by Spartan Invest. Join me and many other investors as we tour the Huntsville market with the Spartan team. Learn what sets their property management and turnkey services apart from others, and why they have been consistently ranked on Inc. 5000's fastest growing companies. Go to SpartanInvest.com today and reserve your tickets. Best of all, use promo code WFreedomNexus for 15% off your tickets. Join me October 4th through the 6th in Huntsville, Alabama, and unlock your legacy with Spartan Invest.
But if say someone signed up with us today, they pick their package is going to determine what the profit split is with us. So the higher you invest, the less we take on the back end.
Okay.
Also, the more that might be inclusive of so there might be more revenue accelerators to your package. Like, I don't want to get too much in the weeds here, but certain things that can excel your business a little bit faster come with the more sophisticated top tier packages. But essentially you sign up, you get an onboarding call with us. We show you how to essentially apply for an Amazon seller account, because you own the business. So that's the one thing you really have to do. That takes about 7 days with Amazon. It takes an hour, 30 minutes of your time, 7 days for them to get back to you. Then you get approved, and then you fill out a form on our end. It might take 20 minutes. We onboard you onto Slack, which is our communication channel. We onboard you onto Zenventory, which is our inventory management channel. You can see where everything's going on and the analytics dashboards of your profit. And then you will need at least 15 grand to pump towards product.
Okay.
Of which we actually guarantee the sell-through of that within 90 days, or we will refund you.
Wow.
So we guarantee the product that you're buying. We also guarantee your upfront investment. So if you invest 50K with us, contractually, if you don't make 50K back, we will pay you the difference.
Okay.
That's the first guarantee. The second, and this is all in the contract, the second guarantee is the sell-through of the inventory. We're the only people in the industry that does this, because not only because we have the data behind it, but we're actually leveraging the data. We're willing to take the risk on our side because it's so minimal, because we know what the trends are and we're so good at finding the right products and we have these connections. And so we want to make sure our clients are coming into this as an alternative investor, but also not too weird. They're going to be weird because it's a weird investment. It's not something people are used to.
Sure.
But if we can mitigate as much risk as possible, it can make clients feel more comfortable. and it can strengthen the partnership down the line. And so at the end of the day, a 15K working capital is expected in the beginning. The more you can increase that over the term of working with us, the more you pump in the product, the more money you make off the product, right? Margins are like 20 to 40% of what you spend. So if you spend 10K, you're looking at like, 13K back of that. And then we would take a split out of that true net margin of that 13K. And if we go down the line here, the first 6 months are slightly so. You get your first sale within 3 months, and then 80% roughly of your revenue in year one, generally after the first sale. So the first sales today, the second half of the year, so month 6 to 12 is where the majority of the revenue comes from in year one. And then if you wanted to ever sell it, we have clients who buy multiple businesses so they can sell one and keep one for passive income. But if you ever wanted to actually sell it, you'd come to us. We've got a massive network of buyers. So we would help you with that. There's also websites like Thrasio, Flippa that sell Amazon businesses, and they can sort of like evaluate what they're worth. We can do that for you as well. And we can actually just list it within our own network and help sell it with also a transition plan. Because if you sell it with our management services tied to it, then that being said, it might be worth more money if that's what someone's really looking for.
Gotcha. Okay. Makes sense. So now with the, let's kind of maybe go the, best case to the worst case. Since you've been doing this 3 years, is there a client or business or group that comes to mind that, gosh, so-and-so put in 15 grand and then within 6 months they were making $15,000 a month net, or what's been your kind of like star protege, if you will?
Yeah. Everyone has different capital injection. So it varies across the board, but I'm thinking of something most recent. We have a client, I believe he's out of Pennsylvania. He only bought one business with us, and we sourced, I believe it's cat litter that he's selling. That's doing really well.
Okay, I wasn't expecting that one.
Yeah, those first products went live in February, and in March he had 30K in sales.
Wow.
So that's not it. That's his revenue. That's not his margin, but like it just shows where that can go within the first couple of months. That's obviously a good case. I know there's another client in Denver that I don't know where he's at right now, but last time I talked to him was in December, and he started sometime towards the end of the summer. And in the month of November, he had netted 14K in profit. And so I'm just thinking of Kate, because I think we have so many clients. I don't really deal with all of them because there's so many. Obviously, and I have a whole entire team, but I'm just thinking of cases of when I actually do speak to them of like success stories. Those two definitely come to mind. And one of the largest months I've personally seen on the wholesale side, that's not including private label, just a basic wholesale business, was a 29 grand month in profit before a split. Wow. And that was last summer. And they were actually doing really, really well on selling generators. So there was a huge boost that month. Right now they average, I think, around 25K a month, but there was a huge boost in generators because I think there was a hurricane in like the Gulf or something around that time. And that month like blew up for him. And then it settled down, and then we brought it back up again. But like, I just remember that because it stands out in my mind. So you'll get those random spikes. Generally, the way we like to look at it is we want you to break even on your investment 12 months from the date of your first sale is our break even point. That's our goal. I've seen it higher. I've seen it lower in terms of time frame. It's going to vary, but that's sort of our benchmark.
Okay. Sounds good. And then maybe on the flip side, Will, and I kind of always like to, hear the good stories, but maybe the bad. And, obviously with anything in life, you get out what you put into it. But let's just say, someone puts the minimum, say 15,000, very, very hands off, just as like, please do all the work for me. I'm not looking to become a millionaire, a big Amazon store. I'm just looking for a little extra income or a little side income.
Yeah.
On the lower end, what's kind of like the lowest you've seen, like a $500 a month profit, or what's that look like? I
mean, once fully scaled, we have businesses that are on their second year that are averaging like 3 to 4K a month in profit.
Okay.
And that's probably the lowest end for a business that's a year in.
Okay.
And they're happy with that. Obviously, a lot of people would be happy with that. That's great. You know what I mean? We have clients from all different levels. Like I said, some are aiming for the sky, right? And we can do that. We can touch on any kind of like financial background, but that client specifically, I know he's younger. And so he had minimal credit. And so his credit limits are very low. And so by going down now, we had less room to work with, but we're still consistently selling around that kind of range for him, which obviously is great if you're 22 years old.
Yeah.
And you're working and you're making an extra 30 grand a year, passively.
Exactly. So No, that makes sense. One thing that just popped in my mind, Will, and I know you're probably not a tax advisor or, a tax accountant or anything like that, but the income that you were mentioning, is this typically like taxed as W-2, FICA, highest or tax rates, or can this be structured, as, a dividend income from a business or something like that?
I mean, generally their business is going to be under an LLC. So it's an entity that you put under Amazon seller, and LLCs are pretty much like attached to your personal income, right? They're just the liabilities just aside. How you can sort of finagle it, I would defer to Blue Books, is who we use. So they work directly, and I'm not trying to give a political answer here, but I also don't know. Only because I've seen so many different ways that people handle it based on, honestly, the accounting literacy of their accountant and how good they can be, right? But we bring our clients to Blue Books. It's the option for them, and they focus directly on Amazon entrepreneurialism. So they peel back the layers, and they know the nitty gritty of how to handle accounts like this. And there are a lot of tricks, and it's not something that a general accountant won't be slightly confused at. They always are initially. They're like, all right, this is whoa. Because there's so many transactions, right? If you're doing thousands of revenue, transaction, there's just hundreds of transactions, right? And I mean, Amazon pulls out the reporting for you, and then we have our own reporting that we provide to clients. It's very cumbersome, and there's a lot that the account has to go through. And so we always recommend an assessment from someone who's specific in this industry first for the data pull. But this is something the client doesn't have to do. I mean, we pull the data, we provide to the accountant. They're just doing extra work. That's all it is. That's what happens when you make more money, right? So.
Yep. No, makes sense. So as we close this out, Will, and again, I want to, thank you for your time taking out your schedule to talk about you and your business, my listeners. But as a final note for anyone out there listening, maybe they're wanting to jump all in on this, or maybe they're just interested in learning more about it. What's the best way to reach out and learn more about it? What you can do for your customers? Yeah, we relaunched a new website, so it's brand new. We gave it an awesome facelift. We are Ascend Capventures. That's our full name. So www.ascend, ASCEND cap, CAP, ventures, VENTURES.com. You can read all about us there, look at publications, all the information about the business, and book a call with our team. Also, our YouTube channel. Plenty of videos of me on podcasts and informational stuff on that. That's Ascend Capventures. And then you can book another call with us if you'd like to go through our Instagram, which we post on daily, pretty much. That's Ascend, ASCEND _CV, Cat Victor. That's our main page. And you can always, DM us there or whatever. And our calls are they're educational. So if someone's interested in this and they have capital, we're not here to try to push a sale on you. It's more of like, let's learn about your background, what you're interested in, if this may be a fit based on how we do things. And if we decide it makes sense to continue a conversation on your side and ours, then we pursue further kind of thing. But okay. Sounds good. So the website, YouTube channel, and Instagram, again, as always, for those listening, I'll have those in a clickable format in the show notes, so you don't have to hit rewind, find a pen and paper, and hopefully you get it spelled right. So with that, Will, thanks again for taking the time out of your schedule, and hope the rain clears up in Miami, and have a great rest of the week.
Yeah, John, it was a pleasure. Thanks for having me, and we'll chat soon. Take care.
Thank you for listening. Be sure to share, rate, review, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. For more updates, check out www.wealthandfreedomnexus.com. Remember, nothing on this show should be considered tax, legal, investment, or professional advice. This show is produced solely for educational and informational purposes. Please consult an appropriate and licensed tax, legal, real estate, or business professional for specific advice for your situation. For distribution or publication rights or media interviews, please contact the host.